I'm never happy with the background that I have on these, but I live in a really tiny shoebox. Just so you guys know, my bed folds into the wall. This is a tiny, tiny apartment, but this is luxurious living in the land of Los Angeles. So you're watching Sketch Talk. It's basically a show, as I say every week, where I drop a sketch on Mondays. Then on Fridays, I talk about it. We're going to move into podcast eventually. But right now, I don't have podcast equipment, so I'm just using my camera, in this case, my phone, to so self-aggrandizingly talk about what I created the previous Monday before. Really, the reason why I started this whole show was because I like podcasting, I like talking about the creative process, and I like talking about the whole thing that fueled why I did what I did. Because it's fun to talk about. I don't want to talk about like, oh, we did this and then I wrote this and I was feeling so melancholy and all that kind of BS that nobody really cares about because it's just patting yourself on the back. But I like to talk about the issues of life that I was going through more so whenever I came up with the idea. So this last week I re-released Connected, which was a short film that I actually wrote. I think it was in 2019. It was directed by the very, very, very amazing Paul McGovern Jr., super talented director. He also edited it, and he just really brought it to life, I feel. And I was surrounded by a good cast. There was just 3 actors, with myself included. It was Kathleen Randazzo, who is a phenomenal actress, and she was also my acting coach for some time. I studied Meisner at Playhouse West, and she came and she delivered. Then there was also Brooke Hayley Martin, who I met on a commercial that we both did, and we just kind of hit it off, and she's just a great actress, and I love working with her. This was a movie about mental health, which, I'm going to be honest with you, I hate talking about mental health. I even hate that word, mental health, because the way social media talks about mental health pisses me off. Because all it is, people just repost these memes like, you know, you've had a hard week and you just need to pat yourself on the back and love yourself and just, you know, lay in bed, eat cookies because you deserve it. And it's like, shut up. And I think loving yourself is something that's important, but it's also such an abstract idea that it's an active thing. You have to love yourself, yes. But loving yourself isn't like kind of just laying down and just, I don't know. Everybody needs to rest, but yeah, that's my pet peeve, is the way that social media is mentioned on, or the way that mental health is mentioned on social media. I've had mental health struggles. I'm just going to say I struggled because I don't like saying mental health. It's not that I don't believe it's real. It's just, there's an overuse of that word. But there's an element of this that I really, really went through in my early 20s. And this character, his name is David James.
Just tell me I'm nothing.
We are out of time for today.
Good.
Why are you trying to shake my hand?
Because everything I just said made me look like a pauper in your eyes.
And basically he's very, very charismatic on the surface. He's really, really good with women as long as it's on a surface level. Very, very, very casual.
No.
Yes!
Not as fun as romantic comedies.
Okay, so you're saying that you would rather watch Anakin than young Anakin?
Ew.
What?
Is that a Star Wars reference?
But as soon as things get vulnerable and as soon as things get deep, he feels exposed, and he doesn't want to show the real him because he has so many wounds and he has a lot of different scars. So what he does is he kind of just tries to keep things at a surface level. And Sarah, the other character in this, she really just pushes him and tries to get him out of his shell.
Are you scared of me?
You might be crazy good at hiding your identity as a roller coaster, but you're not that good. Let me see.
I'm serious. Are you scared of me?
And, you know, it kind of reminds me of how I found out that I wanted to do comedy at a really, really young age. I mean, I found out really, really young.
Play today. Oh, the baby! Oh, did you see the baby? Oh, did the baby move? Did you see the baby move its arm? Clyde! Look at the baby move its arm!
They just hop a plane, kill some random guy, and then drive back home carefree with a corpse in the front seat listening to Andy Griffith.
I was like 14 or 15 whenever I said, hey, I'm going to be a comedian. Started doing stand-up at 16, and I started practicing in front of my mirror whenever I was like in high school. Just hours and hours just developing characters.
It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world. It's a small world after all.
And another one bites the dust. My favorite bands are Skinner and Hayley.
And I got really good at characters because I didn't know how to be myself. Because my whole life felt like I was under the microscope. I had a growing disorder whenever I was a kid, had to take testosterone shots. So I always kind of felt like I was the odd person out. Then I had really bad OCD. It's crazy because OCD, a lot of people don't know what that is. If you've ever seen About Schmidt, I think it's About Schmidt. Or no, As Good As It Gets. As Good As It Gets with Jack Nicholson. He has obsessive compulsive disorder in that. I think I'm thinking of the right movie. And then a better take on it is actually What About Bob with Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss, where Bill Murray has to do like these specific things, and if he doesn't do them, it's like he's in his own prison. So growing up, I had to do different things. I'd wash my hands when I was like 6 until they bled. I would like lock my door over and over and over and over and over, and it's like it wouldn't register to my brain that it was locked. You know what I mean? I brushed my teeth so hard that it like rubbed the enamel off. So it's weird because I had good parents, you know, but for whatever reason I came out, you know, and I was crazy. So I found out I could do these characters, and I was able to kind of escape, you know, and I was able to get people to like me. Flash forward, you know, I moved to Chicago, I did theater, I did stand-up out there, to LA. And this was a turning point for me in my life. I was doing a pilot with a really famous comedian. I was 26 years old. And I remember he asked me to write a character for this specific pilot. And so I did. And whenever I went out to the stage, the cameras were rolling. And I remember I just had the deer in headlights effect. I completely forgot all my lines. And I tried to string together an ad lib, but it just wasn't good. And I remember after it was over, the audience was just kind of like clapping. And it was a presentation for TV. They were just kind of like not sure if this was over or what it was. But they were uncomfortable. And I was uncomfortable. And it was just this energetic exchange that we could both feel. And I just felt like crap after that. So I told myself that I was going to find out who I am as a person. And I was going to find out who I am as an entertainer outside of doing characters, because it's like, okay, I have this really, you know, good skill for doing characters. That's what people know me for in LA and in the stand-up scene. But it's like, oh, what do I think? What does Matt feel? And so that began this long process of where I went on stage and I would just go up there and I would not talk about anything. I would not let myself premeditate anything. So I would just go on stage and I would just start talking about things that I saw in the room. And I got really, really good at improv. And then I moved to it wasn't a radio show, it was a live streaming show. It was an internet broadcast thing to where they paid us hourly to stream for 8 hours, but we couldn't have any dead air. So we just had to talk for 8 hours. So I was basically just improving 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week of just doing improv nonstop.
Stuck my tongue out, and I licked up the tear. And she said, no one's ever done that for me. And I said, that's because no one's ever paid attention to you in the way that you need to be paid attention to. And then I just did like a little dance move like this. There was a violin in the back. There was some people that were in the cafe, and they were pointing and staring at me, and they said, that man understands women.
And it started to unlock this thing. Now, I know this sounds self-indulgent, but it's leading somewhere, so bear with me. So basically what ends up happening is I go to this school, which was Playhouse West in North Hollywood, and it was Meisner training. And one of our acting coaches would say to us, not who you think you are, not who you want to be, but who you really are. And we would do these exercises that would bring out our impulses to where whenever our impulses would come out, crazy things would start happening to you. You'd be in a scene and you would just start crying, or you would yell at someone, or you'd become very volatile. And it's just crazy because all this trauma would just come out. I'd be like, ah! Like screaming at people in the classroom. I'd be weeping, rolling around on the ground, like just a madman, you know? But it was like stuff that needed to come out because it's stuff that's locked away in childhood. Now that I've just kind of explained all this self-indulgent, this character is someone who did not go through those things. Meaning he still has the trauma locked inside of him. He still has the pain that's there. And I think it's more relatable than we think, because there's a lot of people that feel that way, that are holding something inside. I had a friend one time that told me, it's like, people who are gay, they just need to come out of the closet. And I go, dude, adults need to come out of the closet. Because everybody has this inner child that kind of gets locked away. And you just, you become something that you're really not. And I was in the back of a comedy club one time, and I was listening to some motivational speaker. I can't remember who it was, like Brian Tracy or one of those guys. And he was like talking about like, what's your purpose? And I just wrote down, I was like, I think my purpose, because what you do is what you do, but then there's your purpose, which is the reason why you do what you do. And I wrote, my purpose is to put people in touch with their inner child before God. And that was a little verbose and wordy, so I've changed that over the years. But I still believe that. I believe that the goal of what I do is to put people in touch with who they are. Like that's my goal with everything that I do, like big project wise, is to put people in touch with who they are. The mob mentality, the things that people hide behind and everything, like almost unwrapping people like a ball of yarn. And obviously I can't fix people. I can only do that to myself and then show the world. So that's my goal behind what I do. But this David character, he has not done those things. And because of that, he's able to be charming, and he knows how to turn on the playfulness, and he knows how to be adorable, and he knows how to kind of like string someone into his web. But as soon as she pushes, he just collapses. Because for the first time, this is a woman who actually sees him, and he is a mess because of it. Because he's not used to being seen. He's not used to someone looking at him and saying, hey, I know what's going on with you. You're scared. And to him, it feels like he's demasculated. It's like, she doesn't think I'm cool. She doesn't think I'm suave. She thinks I'm emotional, so she's going to leave. Because he has all these ideas that are somewhat true in reality, that, the more emotional you are as a guy, that a girl's not going to feel safe because she's not going to feel secure. And we can get into that in another time. I'm not going to talk about that right now. But, his main problem is he's not cool with himself, which is the main thing that makes him push people away in his life. And this David character, he really, really, really wants to, he really, really just wants to impress this girl, and he wants to impress women. And he puts on a mask very, very effectively. But behind that, he's not okay. And so I think that's really, really close to what a lot of people in society feel, is people have this persona that they put on. And I notice this too around like comedians, because I've dealt with it myself. There's this whole thing of like being able to be charming and be able to be charismatic, and it's like, I'm gonna make you love me. But you really can't. So there's like noises in my apartment and it's freaking me out. So yeah, that's what this was basically about. It didn't really have a resolve at the end, because sometimes life doesn't really have a resolve. So I didn't want to make this to where he's like, I finally fixed myself and everything like that. But basically the point at the end of this film was he's taking a chance on allowing himself to be seen, which is all anybody can ever do. And you do that in your art. And I've been doing this more and more in my stand-up. And stand-up and acting are different. But in my stand-up, while I still do characters, like a lot, I have found that sharing how I feel about things, whether that's something political that's going on, what's happening in my relationships, my life, what's going on with my girlfriend and I, like talking about these things are what people want to hear anyways. Because really, the ultimate purpose of life, the ultimate purpose of art is to make people feel less alone. Because it's basically holding up a mirror and people are like, oh yeah, you know, I feel that way too, or I deal with this too, or that pisses me off, or whatever it is. The goal is to make people feel less alone. So hopefully this piece was able to do that. And yeah, hopefully you liked it. So if you do, go back and watch it. If you have not seen the film, go back and watch it. If you have, make sure you like this video, leave a comment for the algorithm, and subscribe to my channel. And